The Xerex Trade Commissioner's facial scales rippled with barely concealed disdain as he gestured toward the massive vessel floating in the orbital dock. As agreed in the Technology Exchange Treaty, we offer the mining vessel Caxtal. While outdated by our standards, it should serve humanity's modest space exploration needs. Captain Sarah Chen maintained her diplomatic smile, though her eyes sparkled with interest as she studied the ship's unconventional design. The vessel was essentially a modified asteroid, merely 2 kilometers long, with various structures and machinery embedded throughout its rocky mass. Ancient drilling equipment and processing plants dotted its cratered surface like technological barnacles. The Caxtal has been decommissioned for 60 cycles, the commissioner continued. Its quantum fold drive is thoroughly obsolete, and the mineral processing systems are primitive compared to our current standards. But for a species just beginning to venture beyond their solar system, it should be adequate. Chen exchanged knowing looks with Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading xenotechnology researcher. They had both spotted the same thing. The Xerex had no idea what they were actually giving away. "We accept with gratitude," Chen replied, keeping her voice neutral. "Though we'll need to make some modifications to accommodate human crew requirements." The commissioner's scales shifted to a shade of amused violet. "Of course. Though I should warn you, our engineers estimate it would take several years and considerable resources to restore it to even minimal functionality. Perhaps we could discuss providing a smaller, more manageable vessel." "That won't be necessary," Dr. Wong interjected smoothly. "We find that working with older technology often leads to unexpected innovations. The Caxtal will serve our needs perfectly." After the formal transfer ceremonies, Chen and Wang stood in what had once been the vessel's primary control center. The alien interfaces were dark, and layers of cosmic dust covered every surface. But beneath the neglect, both humans could see the ship's true potential. "They really don't understand what they've given us, do they?" Wang mused, running his hand along a crystalline control panel. "This ship's primitive quantum fold drive uses principles we've only theorized about. And the mineral processing systems." Chen nodded. "The Xerex are so focused on miniaturization and efficiency, they've completely overlooked the advantages of working at this scale. Did you see how the ship's structure incorporates the original asteroid's natural tunnels and chambers?" "Exactly. With some creative repurposing, those spaces could house entire research facilities, manufacturing centers, or defensive systems. The raw materials alone." Wang's eyes gleamed with possibilities. "The Xerex think they're offloading obsolete junk. What they've actually given us is a blank canvas." Chen activated her comm unit. "This is Captain Chen to Project Phoenix team. Begin preliminary survey and prepare for Phase 1 modifications. Priority focus on power systems and structural integrity." "What's your timeline estimate?" Wang asked, already pulling up preliminary scanning data on his tablet. Chen smiled. "The commissioner said it would take years. I say we show them what humanity can do in 6 months." The next few weeks saw a flurry of activity as engineering teams swarmed through the ancient vessel. The Xerex observation post recorded everything with mild amusement, noting how the humans seemed to be stripping away much of the original technology. Clearly, they were struggling to understand the advanced systems and were falling back on their own primitive solutions. What the observers failed to notice was that for every piece of equipment removed, something new and unexpected took its place. The humans weren't just adapting the ship to their needs, they were completely reimagining its purpose and potential. Deep in the vessel's core, Chen watched as her engineers installed the first of the new power systems. Unlike the Xerex's elegant but rigid quantum reactors, the humans had opted for a hybrid approach. Antimatter initiators salvaged from the original drive were being combined with experimental zero-point energy collectors in ways the original designers had never imagined. "It's not pretty," Chief Engineer Patel admitted, watching the installation, "but it'll generate 3 times the power of the original systems, with better stability and redundancy." "Pretty isn't the point," Chen replied. "We're not building a showpiece. We're building something that works." And that, she reflected, was what the Xerx had never understood about humanity. They saw humans as primitive because they focused on elegant, perfect solutions. Humans, on the other hand, had mastered the art of working with what they had, of finding unexpected ways to combine and repurpose technologies. The Caxtol would never again be the simple mining vessel it was designed to be. Instead, it would become something entirely new, a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability. And when it was ready, it would show the galaxy that sometimes the most powerful innovations come from seeing potential where others see only obsolescence. As Chen made her way back to the temporary command center, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. The Xerx had meant to humble humanity by giving them outdated technology. Instead, they had handed humans exactly what they needed to demonstrate their greatest strength, the ability to take the discarded and forgotten, and transform it into something extraordinary. 3 months into the Refit project, the Caxtol's transformation was beginning to take shape, though not in any way the Xerx might have expected. Where there had once been conventional mining equipment, vast chambers now housed experimental systems that defied traditional spacecraft design principles. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, head of weapons development, stood before the ship's newly installed defensive array, explaining her latest innovation to Captain Chen. Traditional energy shields have always been power-hungry and prone to failure under sustained attack, so we took a different approach. She gestured to what appeared to be a honeycomb pattern of hexagonal plates covering the inner hull. We've adapted metamaterial technology originally developed for earthquake dampening. Instead of trying to block incoming energy, these plates redistribute it through the ship's structure, essentially making the entire vessel act as one massive shock absorber. Chen ran her hand along one of the plates, feeling its subtle vibration. And the power requirements? Minimal. The system is largely passive, using the kinetic energy of impacts to enhance its own effectiveness. The Xerx would probably consider it crude, but sometimes the simplest solutions are the most elegant. Similar innovations were taking place throughout the ship. In the propulsion section, Chief Engineer Patel had done away with conventional engine designs entirely. Instead, the vessel now employed what he called a quantum wake drive, a hybrid system that combined principles from the original quantum fold technology with theoretical work in space-time manipulation. "Think of it like surfing," Patel explained to a group of visiting officials. "Instead of pushing against space, we're creating a localized distortion and riding it. The energy requirements are a fraction of what a traditional drive needs, and we can achieve speeds that should be theoretically impossible." One of the officials frowned. "But the strain on the hull would tear a normal ship apart," Patel agreed. "But we're not building a normal ship. The entire asteroid's mass acts as a natural inertial dampener." The Xerx saw that as a disadvantage, too much mass to move efficiently. We saw it as an opportunity. The innovations weren't limited to major systems. Throughout the ship, human ingenuity was finding ways to turn supposed limitations into advantages. The asteroid's natural caverns, deemed inefficient by Xerx standards, were being converted into self-contained hydroponics bays. The original mineral processing plants were being repurposed into automated manufacturing facilities that could produce replacement parts and even entirely new systems. In the newly established research lab, Dr. Wang was leading a team in perhaps the most ambitious modification yet. They were attempting to integrate quantum computing principles with human neural interface technology, creating a hybrid control system unlike anything seen in known space. The Xerx approach to ship control is fundamentally hierarchical, Wang explained as he made adjustments to a neural interface prototype. Everything flows through central processors in a linear fashion. But the human brain doesn't work that way. We process information in parallel, make intuitive leaps, see connections that pure logic might miss. The prototype interface helmet lit up with a soft blue glow as Wang activated it. By combining quantum processing with human cognitive patterns, we're creating something entirely new. The ship won't just respond to commands. It'll anticipate needs, adapt to situations, almost like it's alive. Not everyone was comfortable with the pace and scope of the modifications. Some of the more conservative elements in Earth's government expressed concern that they were moving too fast, taking too many risks with untested technologies. During one particularly heated video conference, a senior admiral demanded to know why they couldn't simply restore the ship to its original specifications. These modifications you're making, they're completely untested. You're turning a perfectly good mining vessel into some kind of experimental platform. Captain Chen's response was calm but firm. With respect, Admiral, that's exactly what we're doing. The Xerex gave us this ship because they thought it was obsolete, worthless except as a gesture of diplomatic condescension. But they fundamentally misunderstood something about humanity. She pulled up a holographic display showing the ship's new systems. We don't just adapt to technology, we transform it. Every major advancement in human history has come from looking at something familiar in a new way. The Xerex see a mining vessel past its prime. We see the foundation for something revolutionary. The Admiral's expression remained skeptical, but there was a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. And you're certain these modifications will work? Certain? No, but that's never stopped humanity before. We take risks, we try new things, we fail and learn and try again. That's who we are. And this ship, this experiment, is going to show the galaxy exactly what that means. As the weeks passed, the Caxtol continued its metamorphosis. The Xerex observation post still recorded everything, but their reports had taken on a different tone. Gone was the initial amusement at human primitiveness. Instead, there was a growing sense of unease as they watched system after system being replaced or modified in ways their engineers insisted should not be possible. What they were witnessing, though they didn't yet realize it, was more than just a ship being rebuilt. It was humanity's answer to those who would underestimate them. A declaration that innovation knows no bounds when imagination and determination come together. The newly christened Phoenix's first patrol was supposed to be routine, a simple shakedown cruise to test systems and train crew. No one expected it to become the moment that would change the galaxy's perception of human technological capabilities forever. Captain Chen stood on the bridge, now barely recognizable as the dusty control center it had been 6 months ago. The crystalline interfaces had been replaced with a seamless blend of holographic displays and neural link stations. Through her command interface, she could feel the ship's systems as extensions of her own consciousness, a constant stream of data filtered through intuitive awareness. All systems nominal, reported Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka from the operations station. Quantum wake drive maintaining stability at 15% capacity. Defensive arrays online but passive. Wait, she paused, frowning at her readings. Multiple signatures detected at the edge of our sensor range. Configuration unknown. Before Chen could respond, Dr. Wang's voice came through the neural interface. Captain, the quantum processing core is picking up patterns in the sensor data. These ships, they're moving in attack formations. Chen didn't hesitate. All stations, combat ready. But maintain passive stance. Let's see what we're dealing with. The unknown vessels emerged from quantum space like predators from the depths, sleek, aggressive shapes painted in midnight colors. 7 ships, each roughly the size of an Earth destroyer, arranged in a classic hunting pattern. Getting readings now, Tanaka reported. Energy signatures match Corthan raiders. They're probably expecting an easy target. Our profile still reads as an old mining vessel. A harsh voice cut through their communications. Attention vessel. Your ship and cargo are now property of the Corthan Dominion. Attempt resistance, and we will destroy you. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Corthans were infamous pirates, known for preying on civilian ships throughout this sector. They were also known for their advanced weapons technology they'd stolen from various species over the years. This is Captain Chen of the Earth vessel Phoenix. We are a registered patrol ship of the Human Alliance. Withdraw now, or we will be forced to defend ourselves. Laughter echoed through the channel. A human ship. Even better. Your species is known for its primitive capabilities. This will be simple. The Corthan vessels moved into attack position, energy weapons charging. They were clearly expecting an easy victory over what appeared to be an outdated, converted mining vessel. All hands, Chen broadcasted through the neural link. Show them what humanity's primitive capabilities can do. The first Corthan blast struck the Phoenix's hull and simply vanished. There was no explosion, no shield flare, just a ripple through the metamaterial plating as the energy was absorbed and redistributed. Their weapons had no effect, Wang reported, excitement clear in his voice. The adaptive hull is performing beyond projections. We're actually gaining power from their attacks. The Corthan commander's voice had lost its amusement. Impossible. Full barrage, all ships. A storm of energy weapons fire engulfed the Phoenix. To the Corthan's horror, their supposedly overwhelming firepower was having no visible effect. Worse, with each blast, strange patterns began appearing across the Phoenix's hull, quantum resonance effects as the absorbed energy was channeled and repurposed. Power reserves at 200% normal capacity, Tanaka reported. The attacks are actually charging our systems faster than our reactors. Chen nodded. Time to show them what we can do with all that extra power. Tactical. Initialize the gravity lance. Deep within the Phoenix, systems that had once processed mineral ore hummed to life. The ship's quantum processors calculated trajectories as gravitational forces were gathered and focused. There was no beam, no visible projectile, just a sudden localized distortion in spacetime that caught the nearest Corthan vessel in its grip. The raider ship crumpled like paper as artificial gravitational forces crushed it from all directions simultaneously. The remaining Corthans watched in horror as one of their most powerful vessels was reduced to a dense ball of compressed matter the size of a small car. By the void, the Corthan commander's voice shook. "What are you?" "We are human," Chen replied simply. "And we're still learning what we're capable of. Would you like to see more examples?" The Corthan fleet's response was immediate. Ships vanished into quantum space so quickly they left visible distortion wakes. Within moments, the Phoenix was alone in normal space, surrounded only by scattered debris from the destroyed vessel. "Well," Wang commented from his station, "I'd say that was a successful test of our defensive systems, though I doubt the Corthans will be our only audience." He was right. Even as they spoke, quantum communications were buzzing throughout nearby space. The Xerex observation post was transmitting urgent messages to their high command. Civilian vessels that had witnessed the battle were broadcasting recordings, and in distant command centers of various species, military analysts were frantically reevaluating their assessments of human technological capabilities. Chen knew this was just the beginning. The Phoenix had demonstrated only a fraction of its true capabilities, yet that demonstration would send shockwaves through the galactic community. The message was clear. Humanity would not be underestimated. "Set course for home," she ordered. "I believe we have some reports to file, and some very interesting diplomatic meetings ahead of us." As the Phoenix engaged its quantum wake drive, leaving barely a ripple in spacetime despite its massive size, Chen reflected on how far they'd come. The Xerex had given them a cast-off, thinking to put humans in their place. Instead, they had given humanity the perfect opportunity to showcase their greatest strength, the ability to reimagine the possible. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concordat hadn't seen such chaos in centuries. Representatives from 24 spacefaring civilizations argued heatedly, while recordings of the Phoenix's battle with the Corthan raiders played on floating displays throughout the chamber. Ambassador Michael Okonjo of Earth sat quietly in humanity's modest section, watching the debate unfold. Beside him, Captain Chen and Dr. Wang observed with carefully neutral expressions as species after species demanded explanations, made accusations, or called for immediate action. The humans have violated technological development protocols. The Xerex Trade Commissioner's scales had turned an alarming shade of red. They've taken a simple mining vessel and turned it into a weapon of mass destruction. A weapon you gave them, the Palaxian delegate countered, their crystalline form sparkling with amusement. Perhaps next time you'll think twice before attempting to humiliate a younger species. The Corthan representative, still shaken from the loss of one of their most advanced raiders, rose to speak. We demand the humans share the specifications of their defensive systems. Such technology could destabilize the entire sector. Interesting. Okonjo finally spoke, his voice cutting through the chaos. When your raiders attempted to seize our vessel, you showed no concern for stability. Now that humans have demonstrated the ability to defend ourselves, suddenly you worry about balance of power. The chamber fell silent as Okonjo stood. He was a tall man, and his traditional Nigerian formal wear added to his imposing presence. Let me be clear. The Phoenix represents something far more important than any single technology. It represents humanity's approach to progress itself. He gestured to the recording still playing around the chamber. You all saw us stripping away the original systems and assumed we were struggling to understand them. The truth is, we were learning from them, adapting them, combining them with our own innovations in ways none of you considered possible. Because they should be impossible, the Xerex commissioner interjected. Your quantum wake drive violates 3 fundamental laws of physics. No, Dr. Wong corrected politely. It violates 3 laws as you understand them. Humans have a long history of rewriting what others consider fundamental laws. The Ascendant Mind Collective, who had been silent until now, pulsed with curious patterns of light. We have analyzed the sensor data from the encounter. The humans are not merely copying or modifying existing technology. They are creating entirely new principles of operation. This is unprecedented. Precisely why they must be contained. The Corthan representative slammed a clawed appendage on their podium. If humans can do this with a discarded mining vessel, what else are they capable of? An excellent question. Captain Chen spoke up for the first time. One I hope we can explore together, as allies rather than adversaries. The Phoenix proves that different approaches to technology can yield extraordinary results. Imagine what we might achieve through genuine collaboration. The chamber erupted in overlapping conversations as various factions considered the implications. The Palaxians and several other younger species were already approaching the human delegation with proposals for joint research projects. The more established powers, like the Xerex and Corthans, huddled with their advisors, trying to determine how this development affected their positions in the galactic hierarchy. In a quiet corner of the chamber, a Vanith elder, member of one of the galaxy's oldest species, engaged Okonjo in private conversation. Your people are either brilliantly clever or dangerously reckless, the elder observed. Perhaps both. Okonjo smiled. We prefer to think of it as optimistically practical. Humans have always excelled at finding unexpected solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Indeed. But tell me truthfully, did you anticipate this level of response to your demonstration? The Phoenix was never meant to be just a demonstration, Okonjo replied. It's a proof of concept. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars not as students or subordinates, but as genuine partners in progress. Some species may find it threatening. Others, I hope, will see the opportunities it presents. The elder's ancient eyes studied him carefully, and if some species choose to see it as a threat, then they should remember that what the Phoenix accomplished was done with technology that was considered obsolete. Humanity hopes for cooperation, but we've learned to be prepared for alternatives. As the council session continued, news of the Phoenix's capabilities was spreading throughout known space. On thousands of worlds, beings of all species watched the recordings and debated their implications. Some saw hope in humanity's innovative approach. Others saw a potential threat to their established order. But in laboratories, workshops, and research centers across the galaxy, a different conversation was taking place. Scientists and engineers of various species began looking at their own technology with new eyes, wondering what other possibilities they might have missed. The humans hadn't just created a powerful ship, They had demonstrated that progress didn't always follow predictable paths. The Phoenix, transformed from discarded mining vessel to symbol of human ingenuity, had become a catalyst for change throughout known space, and this was only the beginning. 1 year after the Phoenix's legendary encounter with the Corthan raiders, the vessel rested in Earth's primary orbital shipyard, surrounded by a scene that would have been unthinkable months earlier. Teams of human engineers worked alongside their alien counterparts, sharing insights and challenging long-held assumptions about technological development. Captain Chen stood in the Phoenix's newly expanded observation deck, watching as a Palaxian research vessel practiced maneuvers using an adapted version of the quantum wake drive. The crystalline ship's movements were impossibly graceful, leaving barely a ripple in spacetime, despite its massive size. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Wang joined her at the window. "Their crystalline hull structure actually improves the drive's efficiency by 23%, something we never would have discovered without collaboration." Chen nodded. "And their improvements to our metamaterial plating have made it even more effective. Funny how sharing technology benefits everyone." Not everyone had embraced this new era of cooperation. The Xerex had initially withdrawn from most joint projects, their pride stunned by how thoroughly they had misjudged humanity's capabilities. The Corthans had responded by increasing their raids in other sectors, trying to prove they were still a force to be feared. But change was inevitable. When the Palaxians successfully integrated human-inspired technology into their ships, other species could no longer ignore the potential benefits of collaboration. Even the Xerex eventually returned to the table, their natural scientific curiosity overcoming their wounded pride. "Ambassador Okonjo's transmission is ready," a young lieutenant announced through the neural interface. "All key personnel are requested in the conference chamber." The Phoenix's conference room had become a symbol of the new order. Representatives from 8 species sat around a table that accommodated everything from crystalline beings to energy forms, all linked through a hybrid communication system that combined multiple technological approaches. Ambassador Okonjo's hologram appeared at the head of the table. "Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all designations, I have significant news from the Galactic Concordat. The framework for cooperative innovation has been ratified by 22 species." A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled beings. The framework was more than just a technology-sharing agreement. It was a complete reimagining of how species could work together, built on the principles that the Phoenix had demonstrated. Furthermore, Okonjo continued, "The Ascendant Mind Collective has proposed establishing the first multi-species innovation center. They've specifically requested it be built around the Phoenix, which they say represents a pivotal moment in galactic development." "The Phoenix was never meant to be a museum piece," Chen pointed out. "No," Okonjo smiled, "it will be a working laboratory. The Ascendant Mind believes, and I agree, that the Phoenix should continue pushing boundaries. Every modification, every innovation can spark new ideas across species lines." The implications were enormous. The Phoenix, once given to humans as a diplomatic afterthought, would become the heart of a new kind of space exploration. Not conquest or competition, but genuine collaboration in pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the meeting continued, Chen received a private neural message from Fleet Command. New long-range sensors had detected something massive approaching from intergalactic space. Whatever it was, it didn't match any known configurations. She smiled slightly. Once, such news would have sparked panic. Now, it represented opportunity. Humanity had proven they could transform challenges into advantages, and they weren't alone anymore. Whatever was coming, they would face it with allies who understood that innovation knew no bounds. "Dr. Wang," she said after the meeting concluded, "how would you feel about another impossible project?" Wang's eyes lit up with familiar enthusiasm. "Those are my favorite kind. What are we looking at?" "Something new is coming from deep space. I think it's time to show the galaxy what we can all achieve together." As she spoke, Shen watched the various beings around the conference table. Human, alien, organic, synthetic. all engaged in animated discussion about future possibilities. The Phoenix had started as one ship defying expectations, but it had grown into something far more important. Proof that the greatest innovations come not from working alone, but from bringing different perspectives together. Above them, through the observation windows, Earth shone blue and peaceful. Nearby, ships of various species moved in harmony, their designs representing the best of multiple technological traditions. And at the edge of known space, something new approached, not as a threat, but as the next opportunity for the galaxy's united species to prove what they could achieve. The Phoenix had begun as humanity's statement to the galaxy. It had become the galaxy's promise to itself that the future would be built not by any one species, but by all of them working together, each contributing their unique perspective to the endless journey of discovery. Chen smiled as she issued orders for the Phoenix's next mission. They had transformed a cast-off mining vessel into something revolutionary. Now they would help transform the galaxy itself, one innovation at a time. After all, that's what humans did best. They took what others considered impossible and made it simply the first step towards something even greater.